Hello! Today we are here to review Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. See if there's any more D words we can throw in there as well.
Triple D.
So, don't be a dummy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can follow along with us.
You're a dummy.
I know. Alright, so Rob, tell us more about this game.
So Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. It came out in 2022. When did you get this? Did you just get it?
Just got it. Yeah, this is my newest purchase, I believe.
But it's just retail, right? It wasn't
Yeah,
like a
I got it
Kickstarter
through
or anything.
Miniature Market.
So overall rank is 4,349, rated at 7.1. Designed by the Meister himself, Richard Garfield. Art by Cam Kendall, and it's published by Alea. MSRP is around $25. I saw eBay have it for $27. Geek Market for $35. Some websites didn't have it. Like we looked at Miniature Market, they were sold out. I liked it so much I bought a copy from Recess Games for $25.
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed. I learned about it while I was at Origins. I got an ad from Miniature Market showing it, and I checked Card House, since that's where I normally get from. They didn't even have it on their website. So I ended up, when I love Alea series games in general, and when I saw it, I was like, it's got Richard Garfield's name and Alea series. I got to check this out.
Right.
And we like rolling right. So.
So there you go.
All right, so let's talk about the quality components. Well, this is all you get.
It's a roll and write.
It's a little larger than what you would call a typical small bright box.
Yeah,
but it is a small box game.
It really is.
Matter of fact, the box, there's a lot of dead space where they just put one of these.
You get 4 pencils, you get 5 dice, and 2 pads of paper.
Yeah, so there's just
and rules in multiple languages.
Yeah, they give you the 2 pads, and they're 2-sided on each one. There's 4 different levels of play. Which I always have a problem with this because it's kind of one of those things. It's hard to balance because when you start the game out, there's 4 levels. There's novice and easy and medium and hard, or expert, I think they call it. And when you figure out, okay, well, I really belong at the hard or expert level, you'll probably never want to play the easy ones, unless you're playing with some other.
I was going to say,
little ones like
you could
Sarah,
do that as a handicap, or you could play the hard, and someone else could play the easy.
Well, you're supposed to all play at the same level.
I know, but I could,
So, it's just one of those things. It's like, am I going to just waste this pad of paper?
Right.
Or, as opposed to, I probably need a lot more of this one, So it's, I don't like when they do that, but then I understand they do want to vary it and give people options.
Sure.
So, but you get, as far as the quality, I mean, the dice are just typical wooden.
Yeah.
They are rounded edges.
Kind of reminds you of the classic Catan dice.
Yeah. The pencils are typical golf pencils, very cheap, chintzy ones. The pads, the paper is not real thick. It's not a great consistency, but you're only going to use it twice. I mean,
but it's a $25 game.
Yeah, it's a $25 game. So it's a matter of whether you could always photocopy and print these.
Yeah, either that or laminate them.
And then you get about every language under the sun as far as rule books. You get 5 different rule books in it, in different languages. I'm not going to even hazard to guess what the languages are. Obviously English, but then you've got others. I know Spanish and French are in there. I don't know, and I think German was one of them. So I'm not sure what
maybe
all
Portuguese.
Yeah, could be. All right. So as far as contents, it's nothing above average. I'm 5.
Yeah. There is nothing to write home about.
Yeah. As far as theme, so the theme is you're doing a dungeon delve, but it's a roll and write. So you're moving from room to room using the dice. It's got cute art.
I actually like the art quite a bit. It's got more art than a lot of the roll and writes that you get. Yeah.
So I mean, the creatures are cartoonish, but they're fun. They're not. They don't look menacing. They have cute, fun names. I thought it was cute and pretty. I mean, it's not beautiful art or anything, but I thought it was fun.
But some of the names of the monsters are kind of cool too. So some of them are pretty fun.
Oh, there's dinosaurs on that one. So
whoa.
Yeah. I think it's, it doesn't, I don't know if it's, I would say it's intrinsically involved into the gameplay. You're rolling dice and you're scratching out boxes where the numbers matched. But there is the fact that the adjacency rule is there, meaning you have to move through room to room.
Yeah, like a dungeon.
Yeah. So from that perspective, it's a little bit of theme. It's mostly just the art.
Right.
I don't think it's heavily thematic. I'll probably give it a 6.
Yeah, I was maybe 6, 6.5, something like that, because I do like the art quite a bit.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the rule book. So I'll talk about the one. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm presuming these all say the same thing, just in different languages. They may be completely different. The rule book is 12 pages long, but it has a back cover with a nice cute cartoon. Oh, they got all the same cartoon, but just a little cartoonish creature. And the front is not really a full cover; it's just the title, and then it goes into
and it's pamphlet size,
kind of the objective and the contents of the game. It's smaller than the box, so it's not even a full box size rule book. But it does have the typical Alea style where they tell you how to play, and then they have the excerpts on the side that you can use for quick reference, which I always love.
Yep.
Alea's, that's what they're known for.
They're one of the best rule book writers in the market.
Yep. And it is a very clear rule book. It's got the cute cartoons are continued into the rule book, so it's not really relevant to the gameplay, but it's nice that it's there. It takes your mind off while you're playing reading. And it tells you very clearly how the dice rolls affect the board, how the monster killing works, and the bonuses you get for the treasures, and then the end of game. It talks about what happens when someone defeats the monster to kill the final boss or the final monster that triggers a game end. Goes into the different dungeon variants, and the solo is a single page on the back. That's all there is to it, but it's concise, easy to pick up. We learned it in a matter of a couple minutes.
Yeah, super quick, super easy.
Yeah, we were
and
right
it's
into
fun.
it. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a rule book a 9, just because there's not a lot to take off from it. It's got the very nice style to it, and I always love the Alea series games for this. All right, moving on to gameplay. So you have 5 dice.
And a pencil.
And a piece of paper with your...
Piece of paper.
It doesn't start with D's, those are P's. I can't do P's. All right, so you roll the dice, whoever's the first player, and everyone gets to pick 2 dice to pair up and another 2 dice to pair up. So if you are not the first player, you won't get the option of using the black die.
Unless
use
a special
you have 3 free uses of the black die from the beginning of the game, and when it's not your turn. But otherwise, if I were the one that rolled, Rob would have to choose to pair the 2 4s to make an 8 and a 1 and 2, or they could split those up and do 4 and 1 and 2 and 4, and you'd have those different options to choose from. You have to then find on your board, there's some starting spaces where you can enter the dungeon. And then from those, you can mark any adjacent rooms from those entrances. Or if you just can't find a spot, you can mark the entrances, but you can there's basically the numbers from 2 to 12 on there one time.
Yeah, so it's a way to avoid getting damaged.
Yes, because if you cannot use a set of dice for any reason, you take a hit on your health. And those are negative victory points at the end of the game. If you have really bad luck and you get all the way down to the bottom, you can actually get killed and eliminated from the game.
Yep.
It'd be really hard to do that, though, because it's usually
if you had some really bad luck, you kept getting 9s throughout the entire game.
I think probably as you get into the heavier levels, you'll find it more of it.
And then if Randy didn't mention it, if you are the roller, you do get to use that black dice.
So I have a little more flexibility.
Any combination.
Granted, with this roll, that's a 4 also, so it doesn't really
do 4-4 or 4-4.
Yeah, so it doesn't really help. But in theory, if I wasn't a roller, I would have more options. But it's that simple. You just roll the dice, and you're going to mark on the sheet, and adjacent the green spaces on your page are your entrance points, and you mark one of the rooms either in the green or adjacent to one of those green. And then from there, you can continue your adjacency as you move through the dungeon. And there's going to be creatures in the dungeon that you have to ultimately overcome in order to end the game. Those creatures will have health meter on them, and they give you numbers that you can roll. In some cases, the numbers are locked, and you have to get the spaces adjacent to it that are gray to unlock them, And that I thought was a cool mechanism.
I really did too. I thought that was a pretty unique idea.
So like in this example, there's a 4 and a 10 that are locked. You can still use a 3 and 11. So the 4 and 10 are gray. You can move in from that side.
So if you approach the dungeon, that monster from that like the direction of the 4, you can unlock the 4, but then you can only hit the monster with the 4.
Right. What were the other ones?
Or anything that's unlocked.
Yeah. So it makes that number more useful to you, and you almost like the bosses in there. You almost want to leave them for later because you basically get a free use of that number for the rest of the game.
Right.
And while you're hitting that, if you can't find anything else to do with it, throw it at that monster.
And one of the other things you have to consider is, as Randy mentioned, that if you can't use a die, you get hit. But a lot of the monsters, when you kill them, you get hits too.
Yeah.
And those again are negative victory points.
Yes, and then also. Some of the monsters give you bonuses for being the first to kill them.
Right.
So some of them you kind of want to rush to because you can get gems, and if you get the gems, they're worth 3 additional victory points. And then there's also gold hidden throughout the treasure that you can gather. Their treasures that you can add. Then there's treasure chests. Now the treasure chests
are awesome.
Give you your choice of 3 different options. One of which is getting to use the black die on other people's turns 3 additional times. Another one is a torch that basically gives you 2 free instant hits on a room
and whatever
as an additional add-on. It doesn't take your turn. You still get to you have to use the 2 dice, but you could actually just, if you're getting close to a monster kill and somebody else is, and you want to edge them out like you did to me, you can go ahead and use that torch, burn it, kill the creature, and get those 3 gems before the other player does. And then the other one is basically giving you shields. You get 3 more additional health and a free gem.
And you take that off before you would hit your health meter.
Yeah.
So
and then on each board, they have some specialized things that change it up. When we were playing, it had
rubble.
Basically rubble that was barriers you had to bust through, and if you were the first to eliminate 6 out of the boulders or rubble, then you got bonus 3 extra gems. And then there were 2 kind of sister creatures,
like wizard.
Wizards. And if you killed both of them before anyone else, you got 3 bonus gems.
Right.
So, all in all, I thought it was a cool mechanism for a roll and write. I mean, it was very simplistic because all you're doing is rolling the dice and pairing them.
Yeah, I mean, like most roll and writes, you roll and then you cross stuff off. And you're doing that here too.
Yeah.
But it's that little extra that it adds that I like it a little bit.
Yeah,
I like it a lot more.
It's not like Hadrian's Wall difficult.
Right.
It's not got that much depth to it. But for what it is, it's a single sheet, first of all. Yeah. So a lot of them, have double sheets.
I think it's a good filler game.
Yeah.
And so you're in between games, you don't want to think real hard.
Yeah.
This is the perfect one to play.
And especially if you've got people who are D&D fans.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
It
might be a good introduction to them.
Yeah, it's definitely got the theme and feel of a dungeon delve, even though there's no story behind it. You're just going through.
And the monsters look similar to monsters people that play D&D might be.
Right, and if you got Magic players, they know the name Richard Garfield, then that's going to potentially be an appealing game for them as well.
Right.
So I mean, all in all, it's a good, solid roll and write.
Yep.
Now, when I go and rank my roll and writes, where does this fall? I don't think it's good. It's definitely not as good as Hadrian's Wall.
No.
I don't think it's quite as good as Roger the Ganges, in my opinion.
Or Three Sisters.
3 Sisters and the Fleet. I think it's probably right up there with those. Even though it's not as complex. I'm not talking about its complexity.
Yeah.
I think I like the cartoon, the fun theme. I like the way, the battling of the monsters in it. I think it's right up there with me for them. Okay. I think I'm going to give this an 8 on the gameplay.
I mean, I agree. I think an 8 is a good score because it's a solid game. But I don't think it's quite as good as Three Sisters or Fleet, but it's up there. It's a fun game, and it's just light and just, it's a great way to kind of relax from playing a brain burner. Yeah,
and it's not one that we had to sit there and read the rules and try to understand them. It was You got it right away.
And you're playing your own board, so you don't have to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, yes and no.
Well,
you
you have to worry about
killing your creatures before.
Well,
you get
that's
to
true, but for the most part, though, it's you're playing your own board, but the little bit of interaction with the black dice, and so it's a solid game.
So that's our impressions of Dungeons, Dice, and Danger.
I recommend it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, we tracked it down as soon as
I found a copy of it.
Finished the game. You ordered it.
Yep, I found a copy. Now, granted, I had to go to a website or a store that I normally don't buy games from, but
you went to the dark web, didn't you? No. Okay.
So I don't know if they sell board games on the dark web.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either, but. They sell everything else.
I think you buy organs, maybe people, and board games. I don't know.
Maybe the person will deliver the board game for you.
And the heart. So.
Yeah, exactly. You need one of those. All right. Well, that's our impression. So make sure you join along, come along with us. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, hit it. If you have, don't hit it.
Yeah.
So
because we want to keep you.
That's right.
Right.
So until next time, think about what games you might want us to review.
Yeah.
Comment below, let us know, or let us know if you played this game, what your thoughts were on it, or what's your favorite roll and write. We'd love to hear from you.
Sure.
All right. Next time. Bye.
Bye.